Welcome to Super Doc Stories, the place where physicians stop playing small and start building the life, brand, and impact they were born to create. I'm Dr. Marissa Caudill, physician, CEO, and co-founder of Super Doc Tech. And if you're listening right now, something in you already knows you are meant for more than a packed clinic schedule, a shrinking sense of autonomy, or a career defined by someone else's metrics. Here at SuperDoc Tech Stories, we shine a light on bold, brilliant doctors who are stepping outside the traditional box of clinical medicine. The ones using technology, AI, and automations not just to run a cash pay practice, but to build movements, reshape their identities, and reach more people than medicine ever allowed them to before. Because in this new golden age of medicine, your expertise is currency. Your voice is public health intervention. And your story, it's the spark someone else has been waiting for. On this show, Mona and I share how we and dozens of super docs just like you have used the right tools, the right strategy, and the right support to turn overwhelm into clarity, confusion into confidence, and ideas into income. We talk about the emotional cycle of change, the valley of despair, yes, you will go through it, and how the right community and technology can rocket boost you straight into that phase of informed optimism and fulfillment. So if you're a physician building a cash pay practice, if you're dreaming of coaching, consulting, speaking, or creating, if you're ready to stop exchanging time for dollars and start scaling your wisdom, you are in the right place and we want to hear your story. If you've got something powerful in the works, apply to be featured on this show by going to superdoctech.com/podcast-booking. We want to celebrate you, amplify you, and help you shine brighter than ever. All right, Superdoc, let's dive in. Your next chapter starts now. All right, everyone, welcome back to Superdoc Stories. I'm thrilled today to be welcoming Dr. Chhaya Makhija. She is an endocrinologist with a direct specialty care practice here in California. Welcome, Chhaya.
Thank you so much, Marissa. Thank you for having me. I'm very, very thrilled and excited to share a lot more and serve your mission.
Yeah, so as I was telling you, here at SuperDoc Stories, we really love to feature doctors like you, doctors who were in employed positions, took a leap of faith, purpose-driven to do something different and have found success. And so tell me more about this practice you started in 2021, which was at the time the first of its kind in California.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to. It makes me more excited when I talk about it. So I'm an endocrinologist and also a lifestyle medicine specialist, and I've been practicing in traditional care for a while since I graduated from Midwest, so University of Nebraska. And usually when you graduate, there are two streams that you would think about. Either I get employed, or it could be hospital versus academic versus you start your own private practice. And I would say in the last 15 years, with corporations taking over all the physicians in terms of making everyone more employed per se, there was just an option that, okay, I'll choose employment and it has to be the private practice, or I go to academia. And that's where we were stuck. Okay, you've done all your education to California. This was mainly because of the weather, and we love outdoor activities, me and my husband. So we moved here in 2015.
Okay.
Fast forward, because I think we'll dive into what happened after that. But 2021 is when I founded my own practice. It's called Unified Endocrine and Diabetes Care. And it makes me very, very happy and proud to say that it's the first direct specialty care. So direct care is a very new, upcoming type of healthcare system, I would say, where it's an interaction or a direct agreement relationship between patient and physician. It's the first one in California, which integrated both endocrinology as a specialty and lifestyle medicine. And it's been great in the sense of, when you enter medical school, and I'm pretty sure it may just echo the same, that I want to serve people, I want to do the best thing. Even before we've entered the medical school, there's this purpose of why I want to become a physician or a doctor. I felt that dream became a reality now. And I actually self-founded this direct specialty care because it truly added on to the meaning of what I wanted to practice and why I wanted to become a physician.
That's beautiful. So it reconnected you in a way that you said you were employed for 8 years after graduation from your training. And I assume that wasn't all bad, but in what way did it not fulfill you in the way that your current practice does?
Sure. And, I will get into the nitty-gritty details. But, what's important is every life's experience is an amazing experience. I truly believe in that. because it wouldn't have led us where we are at today's current moment or present moment. And I'm pretty sure when we say talk again in 5 years, we're all evolving. So you appropriately said that they were all good experiences, or it wasn't like, oh my gosh, I was just being miserable. But I learned my lessons of what I don't want to be practicing forever in my life. So, the employed position was being in a private practice world, a couple of endocrinologists, lots of mid-levels, and you get a set salary and you have a set schedule. And gradually, they're very welcoming when you are a new physician, that everything is just amazing. It's like a perfect dream come true job, following which the reimbursements from healthcare insurances usually are, a new slap every year that, okay, we're going to cut back. And especially for endocrinology, your fields of family medicine, internal medicine, pediatrics. So that was delayed appearance on our paychecks. And the only way to maintain salary for that particular employed position full time was that you start seeing more patients, and you have an option. Either you see more patients and get the same salary versus, cut back by 20, 30, and almost 50% at a time. So this went on from 2015 to 2018. And around that same time, I was looking for opportunities to either start my own private practice, which is going to be traditional care, or connect with someone else who can support, or maybe another endocrinologist, but to start private practice. That was the most difficult phases of my life to really seek out. Everyone used to have shut doors that, oh, endocrinologists, make this much amount. They're really not profitable. So I don't think we can partner. And the same time, as I learned about what reimbursement I would get from the insurances if I start by myself, because there were a few endocrinologists in the same, 5-10 mile radius, they were just lowballing for us. At the time, I also had one of the corporations call me that, hey, I've heard that you're looking for a new position. This is what I have to offer. And I actually made a reel out of it a long time ago, that we will pay you $70 an hour. Sorry, $70 per patient. And you can see as many patients you want in an hour. So imagine how much you will make. I said, are you telling me that one patient, even if the doctor says yes, I could see one patient every minute or two, you will accept that? He says, yeah, you can make as much as you want. And yes, you could see as many minutes as you want for each patient, but we'll pay you $70 per patient. This is a physician at a leadership position offering me this job.
Something that you should be salivating at, right? As something that's like,
if you're
aligned with
looking
what
at
you
just the
want.
dollar amount and not the purpose of why you became a physician, for sure. I'm sure there may be some out there who will be like, okay, let's just jump on this opportunity. It sounds great. But to me, I wasn't really keen on that, because it would just make me worse in terms of the gratification that I was getting, at least somewhat, in that traditional care practice. So after going through the entire research of what traditional private practice can do, what, other healthcare systems are offering, and how they're actually, making it meaningless for the physicians, the way they're creating the culture and the environment, the heart is being lost, the soul is being lost, as simple as that. I turned 40 in 2020. That's when we had pandemic era as well, right? And I wanted to celebrate it with a walk on the beach. And I was like, okay, I need to make some commitment to myself, where I am right now and what I would want to do in the future. I had my journal, and this was my gift to myself. And at that time, I made a pact with myself that, okay, either I decide, and it's going to be a 100% decision, that I'll walk my path and figure out a way as to how I can blend what I've learned all the way from India. So my medical school was in India, the Eastern way of thinking and living, which is nothing, just still evidence-based. And at the same time, use my experience, my knowledge that I've gained for this fellowship, that's endocrinology, and integrate it and provide it to my patient with that time and the trust, and definitely seeing a transformation. So I give you results. You get results if you were my patient. It's not about just, signing a prescription and then seeing me after 6 months that, hey, was there a change or not? So I walk with you hand in hand till you don't get the result. And that was my vision. That was very clear that day. And I was like, if that's needed, first I need to make that decision for myself, that am I willing to step out in the world and do it? Provide that service to my patients. And for that, I have to be my own boss, because there is, the corporate layers, you'll have to go through systems, and through systems, the change may take forever. And if I need to make a change, the decision has to be in my hand. So that was the day. So I gifted myself my 40th birthday that I will make this happen. And I have this strong feeling that when you're putting out a very honest purpose out there, the universe helps you. So I ended up getting a call from the Northern California hospitals that they were looking for an endocrinologist to cover during that pandemic period because one of the physicians was going on a longer maternity leave and they were paying pretty well. So as I said yes to that offer in December, so my birthday was in November, December, I said yes to this offer. I gave my resignation to the current private practice that I'm done. And, whatever the 6-week notice was. And I still didn't have any plan as to what am I going to do. But I knew that I have a backup where I can provide that telemedicine services so that there is no gap with my experience. And now I get the option to, or the time, the space, right? You need time when working full time to build something. So that's where the journey began in 2021, where I had no idea. I hired a wrong lawyer. Corporation was created incorrectly, so it wasn't a medical incorporation. So I learned my lessons. July 2nd is where we, actually founded the incorporation and then found the lease, like an office lease in Central California in October 2021. I opened my doors for patient care in 2022.
I love your story so much. Okay, I love that a milestone birthday was kind of the trigger for you to do some self-reflection, and also in the midst of the pandemic. So November 2020 was a dark time, as I recall. And then I love that from that bad situation, or maybe felt at times like really frustrating or aggravating or hopeless even, you pivoted. And I love that it wasn't an instantaneous thing. It was over a year later before you were really doing it, right? So it takes time. I think that's a really important message for everyone.
Yeah.
And you made it work for you by having something that paid the bills, that wasn't as time consuming or emotionally draining while you made this transition, so that you could focus on your vision of what you really wanted to build. And now I was looking you up. You have all 5-star Google reviews. Your patients obviously love you. So you're doing what you're meant to do. And then that's winning. That's always going to be winning, right? Because everybody's going to see that you love what you're doing, that you're passionate about it. And I love what you said, that you would walk with people until they get the results that they need. And that's what we all wanted to do when we became physicians. And it's when you are in an employed position, you don't always get that opportunity. Even if you want to, it's just not possible because there's so many demands on your time and your schedule.
Yes, yeah. And one thing for your physicians, the audience, you were so right that you just don't, let everything go and keep your table empty, that, okay, I'm not going to get any source of income. The other thing, I was always in academia. I made sure that, I added hours. I ended up teaching while I was trying to build a practice in 2021. And that really supported the confidence that, I'm not losing my knowledge, because if there's a long gap, it feels like, oh, did I forget endocrinology? Did I forget, what's happening in the medical world? The academia is education is very, very close to my heart. So that also the great support while I was trying to build something. And, you should always surround yourselves with like-minded people. And that made me even more willing. As I was sharing that I would want to do this with students, with faculty members, and they were like, go for it. So I just wanted to hear it from other people too.
Yeah.
Despite, you've already made the conviction. That was very neat, rather than just being isolated and trying to make all the decisions myself.
Absolutely. I think that's one of the things at SuperDoc Tech that our members really benefit from, because it is isolating. If you leave an employed position and you decide to do your own thing and you don't have some sense of community of other people doing something similar, sometimes you even get shade thrown at you from your former colleagues for doing something different or for daring to go outside the box, right? Sometimes people who used to be friendly are no longer as supportive for various reasons. So I think you're absolutely right that finding some encouraging community. And you mentioned you also found some peers across the country who were also doing direct specialty care, who inspired you and kind of supported you, right?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Facebook, again, I was never on social media. So I made an account. Facebook, we didn't realize we had so many physician groups, entrepreneurs, rheumatologists, endocrinologists, podiatrists, and they were all on the same journey. Some established in 2020, some in 2019, and some wanting to do something or, have the same mission and purpose. So we all got together and learned about this different model and, stepped into it around the same time, a couple of months here and there. And that was a big, very, very big support, in terms of giving you the confidence that it's just not me who feels that I am becoming a disruptor. Many of us, together who are thinking similarly.
Yeah, I totally agree. Social media, for all the bad things about it, it is wonderful. And I owe many of my very good friends. In
Yeah.
fact, I wouldn't have met my co-founder, Mona Sodi, if it hadn't been for
Mm.
social media. And it was through disruptor activity we both learned about real estate investing from semi-retired MD during the pandemic. And that's where we met each other. And now,
Wow.
5 years later, we're founding this company together. So you never know. But okay, so you opened your doors. You were still doing a fairly traditional like practice. Your practice is a clinical practice with an office and people come to you. Do you do
Yeah.
telehealth as well? Do you do any additional things to earn money, or is it people paying a membership to come and see you as patients?
Yes. So it is, direct care it's purely cash based, and
Mhm.
I'm not tied with any health insurances. So the first year was very challenging. One, because it's not traditional. It's very unconventional. And in Central California, there wasn't even a direct primary care practice, which was established at that time. So it was very difficult for people to comprehend that how can you take cash to provide a consultation. There was a lot of resistance that I had to face, and it was either verbal or non-verbal. And at that time, I was still part-time in terms of providing telehealth services to the Palo Alto Medical Foundation, and I had the teaching, I would say 8 to 10 hours a week, which was at least covering my overhead. And then, few patients coming in. It was a lot of word of mouth
Mhm.
initially. I tried, which again, I wouldn't advise, like going on TV channels, spending more money for
Mhm.
advertisements. I didn't spend as much, but 2, 3 thousand for, a couple of ads, which is just not worth it. There are such better ways to bring about yourself more visible, and the marketing term that we tend to use. So that was the first year where I really needed sources of income to make sure that I am not, in negative. I was never negative to start with, and you barely have much investment for direct care, by the way. So if people are
Yeah.
thinking about, going direct care, either primary or specialty, you really don't have to invest a whole amount. And I was a solo person, so I don't
Mhm.
have any staff until 6 months. Then I hired virtual assistants, and then gradually in-person staff. What was your other question, Marissa?
So when you first started out, where did your first patients come from? How did you get those
Okay.
very first patients?
Many of them were people known to me. So they could be colleagues, physician colleagues. I had distant friends because this was not just an in-person model. I can provide telemedicine consultations to anyone in California. So any acquaintances who already trusted me, or they were already seeking fresh opinion regarding their endocrine problem, they became my patients initially. So there was this support. And then former patients, I would literally say, maybe I could just count them, maybe 5 or 10, decided to switch from traditional and come to see me for that direct care consultation. Now I do have membership, and that's where I was teaching everyone. So I started organizing Walk with the Dog. So I partnered with them for a year. It's a nonprofit organization throughout the world, right, internationally. And that's where many individuals through the community were joining me for the walk. I really didn't get direct patients from them, or none of them, or maybe 1 or 2 became my patients, but the word spread.
Yeah.
That there is education happening here, or you can see the transformations. So I had membership model to start with, but also accepting consultations one time, second opinion, because at walking with them, supporting them, and showing them that this is how your health will look, say in next 6 months or 10 months or 12 months. And individuals who were committed, that they wanted something different, they were calling me once I had the Google business page and my story. 1 year was tough. I also had a contract with my lease here. And now I stumbled upon a good lease because we were still in that pandemic era. And that's why it was worth getting a brick and mortar. But I had them sign me an agreement that within 9 months, I have no problems, and you will not charge me no penalty if I need to step out of the 3-year lease. That was
Okay.
because I didn't know if this was going to work or not.
Oh, smart. Very smart. Yeah.
So when that 9 months was around August of 2022, we were debating that, okay, maybe we are getting some more new patients compared to Jan to August, but not enough. And then I was like, you know what? I just got to take a chance on myself. It's not a bet. It's not a risk. I
Mhm.
just got to take a chance on myself and see what else I can do to
Mhm.
make this thrive. And then I locked it in.
So I love that. So again, I use this analogy of burn the ships, like when there were fights and I don't know, people on islands are trying to pillage another island. Like if you go on your ship with your soldiers and you burn the ship so you can't go back, you have to win. So If you let your, like, I love that you had the little escape hatch in your lease, but then when it came time, you're like, I'm just going to burn the ships. I'm going to burn this lease.
Yeah.
I'm going to stay for 3 years and make it work. So what pivoted then? Okay, first of all, I want our listeners to know what happened to you is what happens to everyone. Your
Mm,
initial growth when you start a practice is going to come. This is true for all businesses. 80% of all business comes from people who know you or who were referred by someone who
mm,
knows you. So I think many people make the mistake of thinking they have to go on television and ads, or they have to spend all this money on Facebook ads, or who knows what, right? Like some kind of
yeah.
paid ad strategy. But with paid ads, you're essentially targeting people who are cold and don't know you from Adam, right?
Hmm.
That will work, but it takes between like, I think it's 7 and 16 connections with a paid ad to something you don't know anything about before you are likely to take action and
Right.
say yes. And as you know, probably now you have done some paid ads, but like you're also hitting a lot of people who aren't the right people. So what we do at SuperDoc Tech is we help people who are just starting out to make
Mm,
use of their network using a powerful customer relationship management tool so they can send emails and nurturing sequences and get people on a newsletter list. And I love that you were doing walk with the docs. We have a doctor now who hasn't even opened her doors. She has over 20 paying customers for her new DPC practice, all by going to the local farmers market and
mm,
Chamber of Commerce events and podcasts and just, being present with people. But also it's word of mouth and it's people who knew her, friends, family, telling their friends and families. It's people who used to be her patient when she was in an
yeah.
employed position. So really thinking through we all know so many other people. We know so many other doctors, we know so many patients, we know friends and parents at
Hmm.
your kids' school, whatever. If you just sit down and brainstorm all the people you know, and then you start reaching out to them on repeat, then you will be busy. Like it's all about the systems and having some kind of a system to keep yourself top of mind to the
Yeah.
people who might think of you for their friends, And it's tough, right? Because again, I don't personally have an issue where I see an endocrinologist. But if I was on your newsletter list or if I was
Hmm.
following you on socials and you were popping up in my thoughts every once in a while, if I go out to lunch next week and my friend tells me that her brother
Mm,
has diabetes and lives in Central California, I'll be like, oh, he should go see Dr. Chhaya, because
mm,
I will think of you. But if you're not
hmm.
constantly cutting through that
Yeah.
noise, you won't be thought of. It's not because people wouldn't have remembered you or wouldn't like to have remembered you, but they just won't.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that
That's our net
sometimes
worth, like our network, our people, our
yes.
community. Yeah.
And I think it's a little uncomfortable for us as physicians. We
Hmm.
don't like to toot our own horn. We don't like to bother people. And so when you do go out on your own and start your own business and your own brand, you have to get over that. What shifted
Absolutely.
for you when you did decide, I'm going to take the risk, I'm going to stay in the lease, even though I don't know how I'm going to pay it? What did you do differently in year 2 versus year 1?
Yes. So I reached out, I talked to, quite a few direct primary care doctors, and they were strangers. I didn't even know them, but they were
Mhm.
willing to talk, like just, brainstorm. And everyone just talked about, have you gone to the Chamber of Commerce? Have you gone through these meetings? So I joined the chamber, and our chamber I really didn't enjoy because it was all about men and drinking. There was no
Mm.
contact, nothing. So then I gave up on that. The walk with the dog, I started giving some free talks. And then finally, I think it was end of 2022, I decided, okay, fine, I will have my Instagram account and I will start educating, like just sharing stories
Mhm.
of, patient care and, giving talks at local temples, churches, doing free blood sugar screenings.
Mhm.
And I had support of the medical students who also
Mhm.
wanted to participate. Unless and until you don't ask that, hey, can we do this together? Or, how about collaborating? We can't proceed further. So there has to be this level of communication that I had to learn. And I'm still
Mhm.
learning, still evolving, that if things are just within you, that I would like to do this, and, and your dream is just in your heart, but it's not being shared. You're not asking for help. You're not asking for collaboration. You're not there to listen to someone else's idea. Then we're just closing those doors for us. So I had to
Yeah.
learn. I had to make that, mindset shift, which was very gradual. I wish it was, like a light bulb moment, but it took time. And
Yeah. Well, because you're going outside your comfort zone
yes,
ultimately,
yes.
but it's driven by your purpose and it's not about
Mhm.
you. That's what makes it like once you realize
Exactly.
it's not about me, like going on
Exactly.
Instagram is not so I can be Insta famous and have a
Yes.
million followers. It's so that the people who are looking for an endocrinologist who listens and who understands them and who will actually spend time with them will know I exist.
You
So
got
once
it.
you can get your head around that, and I agree, I wish that were completely in my brain. It's like 80% of the way there, but even as someone who teaches people how to do this, there's still some resistance always.
Mhm.
it's just a little bit uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
And I think part of that's my age. I think my kids, well, neither of them are on social media at all, but I think I see young people and they're just so natively on posting their life everywhere all the time. It's natural for them.
Yeah.
And I'm of a different generation where I would like some privacy in my life and I don't necessarily want to be out there. It is about like going outside your comfort zone for the purpose that's in your heart.
Truly, truly. Yeah. Yeah. Very well said. So it's
So
been an evolution. Yeah.
yeah, so now how many Instagram now you started that in 2022, you said?
Yeah,
This year?
2022, and there was this, okay, I'll post some, and this was by myself. I was like, I hate this. It's taking so much time to edit, and I don't look good. I don't sound good. And then I took a pause for some time, and looked at other. So that's where I was doing some extra screenings because I felt that was in person, and that's like my jam that I could talk to
Yeah.
you as much as I would want to when you're in person with me. So I just focused on that in 2023. Then, we had some podcast interviews with other direct care physicians. So that made me comfortable that, oh, someone asked me about osteoporosis and I was pretty comfortable in giving answers. Someone asked me about, thyroid disorders and a physician to physician interviews. I was like, okay, I can do this. There was just this extra level of confidence. So I restarted posting, but then this time I really asked for help. And that was the best decision that I made was one of, marketing teams. And it was recommended by a physician so that they can take care of the editing and some ideas, work with me, brainstorm, so that my time window is only spent on delivery of the right content and the messaging. So that was also an evolution where I started to what I'm doing today, and it's still evolving a lot. So getting the help was very, 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 very rewarding. And at the same time, I felt like it was one of the greatest, most efficient and productive steps that I took for the social media world, for the visibility.
So it's been a couple of years now that you've been posting regularly with that.
2023 is when I started, yeah.
And how many followers do you have now on your Instagram?
On Instagram, maybe 1,400
Nice.
followers. Yeah, it started from zero and barely have any family following me. Yeah. Most of them are patients or the others. And, the greatest thing was to realize that it's not the number of followers, it's not the number of likes, it's not the number of comments, the visibility. I don't know how it brings about the change in your practice, which is very impressive. So in these last 2 years, what I've learned is every person who I meet who just knows a little bit about me, they know everything through social media. They're not liking it. They're not putting in any comments. I have no idea if they're watching it. And the same thing happens in India. Like, I'm born and raised there. Medical school was there. So when I go there, the only thing they'll tell me that, oh, this video was great. Or, you were wearing this dress. It was cool. We love seeing you work. I post a lot of workout videos, outdoor workouts with my husband. We love watching these and I've learned this and that. So that was very, very much inspiring and motivating that, oh my gosh, it's not what do you call them? The vanity metrics anymore. And it's actually truly serving. And that indirectly was bringing about the calls to the office, the conversion of patients from calls to seeing me in person. So it actually works.
I think that's such a good point. We'll never know. I guess there are things you can measure, but it's hard to know like how much will your 1,400 followers bring you in revenue in your practice this year, right? But I think what's invaluable is the fact that you're out there. If someone gets a referral or gets told about you, they're probably going to Google you. They're probably going to land on your Instagram. And if they just see this like consistent, friendly, approachable person, which is what you are, it builds goodwill and it makes them more likely to then seek you out, call, set up an appointment, right? Yeah. So you just never know what seeds you plant when are going to bear fruit later. Yes. But I think if you do that consistently, it's a positive thing. I totally agree. And the statistics are that like definitely fewer than 5%. I think it's fewer than 3% or 1% of physicians are on social media as physicians. So we are, as a group, like pretty shy when it comes to this kind of format of putting ourselves out there. And as you know, there's plenty of people making noise in the health and wellness space who aren't physicians telling you all kinds of crazy things about what you should eat, what you shouldn't eat, what's toxic, whatever. Yeah. So I do think it's important too that we kind of do step outside that comfort zone and it's totally learnable. Right? Like you've probably gotten much better about it than 2 years ago. We should have it would be fun to get everybody's like first Instagram posts and reels because mine were so
oh my gosh, no, I don't want to see that.
Or Or my very first podcast, I actually just did a podcast with my friend from residency who's about to publish a book. It's very exciting. So she had me on her podcast to talk about parent guilt because her book is about guilt. But I was laughing and remembering the podcast I did with her 2 years ago when I first started being the parent doctor was my very first podcast. And I was so nervous. My mouth was dry and I was like shaking. And now I'm like, okay, it really doesn't take long before, by your fifth reel or whatever, it's not going to be a big deal. Or by the third time you go on live on Instagram, you're not going to be sweating it. So the learning curve is steep, which is good. Like you get better really fast. I don't know if that's the right word to say the learning curve is steep. Maybe the learning curve is downhill. Like you get better really fast. You get momentum quickly. Well, so walk me through right now with your followers on Instagram. Do you have any way that you're interacting with them in a way that is automated or that's bringing them into lead magnets or bringing them into your practice? Or is it just like, check out my link in bio kind of thing?
Yeah, so that's the next phase, Marissa. So, I'll just go back a little because that'll actually answer your questions. 2023 was more of an experimentation. 2024 was better in terms of consistent posting, including Instagram turning into and Facebook. And then 2024, I had like a 3-year anniversary event where I hosted and we had like 100 guests. Most of them were physicians, including the dean, all the assistant dean from the university attending the event. And I made a pact to myself again. So I recorded a 5-minute video, which was displayed at one of the larger screens at our office, that here are our 2025 goals.
Nice.
And in that 2025 goals, I had also announced that I'll be opening a new space, which is Northern California, so the Bay Area. And, we'll be welcoming patients there in person. And then, of course, telemedicine. Second, I will be starting my podcast. I just threw it. I had no idea. I didn't even have a microphone at that time for a podcast. I didn't even know what the name was going to be, but I'm just going to start a podcast. And then a few others, and we're going to make, we had made few guides, and my students really helped me a lot, medical students, with that. And this will be available to the community. By June, June of 2025, check, everything was done. So putting that out in the universe and making a commitment to myself, but speaking it out loud
that's it. Like, have you read Atomic Habits?
Yes.
It's the accountability. Like once you put it out there, you wrote it down, you put it on a video that your patients and everyone in your clinic saw, then that's a lot of pressure to make it happen, right? Because it's also top of your mind because you're like, oh, they're gonna expect me to do this thing. I better execute. We actually teach that at SuperDoc Tech as well. That's okay. Our graduates of our accelerator are invited to a coaching program. We call it Growth Mastery. And we meet and we set quarterly goals and we meet every week and we hold each other accountable and score ourselves. And that is amazing for the kind of progress you can make, because when you put it out there, it happens. Like it's inevitable that it will happen once it's not that the universe opened up to you. It's that you stepped into yourself and who you wanted to be.
Yeah.
Well,
and
congratulations.
Those resources. Thank you. Yeah. So the resources and everything else, everything just starts connecting and the pieces just come together when you're out there expressing it. So that's where, I'm usually at the Bay office once a month, and here, the rest of the 2 to 3 weeks at my office. And I don't see patients every day. It's 2 days a week, maximum 2.5 days a week. So now with the podcast, we've had, I think, 26 episodes already. So my next goal is where I wanted to share that with you because you asked about the lead magnets and the automation. So, tying up with a couple of AI companies because they want to create the avatar. So that opened the door, the visibility. So even though the followers are 1,400, but that brought in about different fields of medicine or experts who were trying to connect with me, and more podcast interviews that ended up leading towards it. With all the guides that are set up, we were trying to build the newsletter and trying to, build web pages for those guides. And that's where I decided that, okay, I have my podcast, which has increased the visibility. It's increased the SEO as well. And it gets published on YouTube. But now I will be converting my office space, which is right now where I'm at, to a YouTube recording studio.
Nice.
Where I would want to. So that's my 2026 goal. So it's out there now.
There you go. YouTube. And the second, what is your YouTube channel?
It's still the Hormones and Hope podcast, and it's under my name at Chhaya Makhija, MD. It was interviewing few physicians in person, and then it has most of the podcast episodes, but having a sole YouTube channel, the same channel, but adding on to the simple questions or tidbits on endocrinology and lifestyle medicine.
I think that's going to be so smart. So we were just this year at the DPC Summit, and they had a whole lecture about this issue, right? Like if you're going to go on socials, where should you go? What age group is in which social platform. YouTube won across the board from 16 years old to
Right.
80 years old. It's the
Yeah.
number one, and it's the biggest search engine behind Google.
Mm-hmm.
So we also are very big on YouTube. I think
Yeah.
once you put something out there, this is the beauty. This is why I really think we're entering a new golden age of medicine,
Mm-hmm.
because if you make an educational content that's going to help people and you put it on YouTube, they can search that and find that forever, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no limit on how many people can be helped by that.
Yeah.
Whereas even if you're the best doctor in the world, if you are just seeing patients in your clinic, there is a finite limit on how many people you can impact. So I love that you're
So
stepping
true.
into YouTube, doing all of those things. We really teach people too how to do one long format and then use AI tools to chop that up and create it into
Yeah.
multiple posts. And within SuperDoc Tech, you have a scheduler. So we help people in their first week to get 5 years of social media content posted that brings people into their lead magnet. And once
Amazing.
people do this, everyone around them is like, wow, you're so active on socials. You know, it doesn't even have to be reels, it can just be static posts and things. But if it's on brand, if it's your message, if it's your tone and your voice, people see you as being more active and engaged and they notice, just like you were saying. Even if you don't think anyone's listening, they
Yeah.
are.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. So I'm very much interested, and we'll be talking soon again about it also to make those goals and the dream come true for 2026 is the automation. Right now we have 6 guides.
Okay.
And these are pretty thorough guides on, simple steps which could be accessible to anyone. And that's where I don't have the automation for either
So how do
Instagram or
people get
Facebook.
your guides? Are they just
So it's on a
downloadable?
link. It's a page on Flowdesk. So I have the link tree with the
Yeah.
specific websites, and then they, click on which guide they need, and then
Do
they
you
get.
get their information in exchange for the guide? So you get more
Yes, so
emails?
they sign up for the newsletter. Yeah, but I would love to, on Instagram post that comment, GLP-1 guide or comment
Yep.
diabetes guide, and then it connects them through the direct messaging
That
service.
is something we do every day at SuperDoc Tech. So
Sweet.
there's my story was similar to yours, except I kind of went the other way. I really thought I was gonna make a course. So my first year as the parent doctor, I'm a child psychiatrist by training, and I thought, okay,
Mm,
I'm gonna get myself out there, educate parents. I have all these ideas, but I thought I have to record this course and then find a place to post it, run ads, or somehow get people on there. I did it all wrong, right?
mm,
Because again, I was afraid and kind of embarrassed to put myself out there after having left my job. I felt less legitimate and I was nervous to be reaching out to my former professional network of friends and colleagues and people and tell them I was doing this thing because I thought, are they going to think I'm crazy to have gone from being like this MD PhD child psychiatrist to rebranding myself as a parent coach? Like that seems like a demotion, but it's not, obviously. But at the same
right.
time, it's just different. It's a different kind of thing to do. And for me, what has made all the difference, because I pieced together all these things, I had Kajabi, I spent you don't want to know how many
Mm,
thousands of dollars on some course from some guy teaching me how to make a course because I thought, again, as physicians, we think that you need to like get the certificate, pay someone who's an authority a lot of money in
yeah,
order to like become good at this thing. It's not
yeah.
true. But what I have found now with SuperDoc Tech is that there is one place where you can have everything you need and
Mm,
it really can help you build and grow so much faster. So I think actually since really implementing my social media presence using what I have at SuperDoc Tech, I went from 0 followers in 2023 and now I have over 4,000 followers on
oh,
Instagram.
amazing.
And that's all organic growth. So it's just a matter of being consistent and putting things out there. But I think what does help it is that I do have a lead magnet and I
Mm,
do have comment book to get on my book club. So my free monthly book club I've now done for 23 months and I educate parents and give them something of value. And so that's now grown several hundred people on that list
mm,
and they tell their friends and it gets more every month. So I do think it feels really good. But it is work, but it's still rewarding
yeah,
work. It's much more
yeah.
rewarding work than what I was doing previously.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's one work which drains you. There's one work which is filled with creativity,
Mm-hmm.
and you could just go on and on and on and on.
Yeah. I really love the work that I do now, and I just want to do
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I
All
love
right.
that,
Well,
what you're doing. So I would love to learn more and
yeah,
see
definitely. We'll book a
how
call to
that
talk about how
collaboration can
SuperDoc Tech
offer.
could help you grow even faster. All right. Well, let's see. Let me ask you one final question here. So, what would you say to a doctor who knows that they want to start something new like you did? Maybe they have the idea or even like just the beginnings of an idea, but they're afraid of all these things we're talking about, like the tech, the marketing, the getting on socials, the business side of things. Like it feels too much, too scary. How would you advise them?
So one thing is what comes to my mind is impossible is I am possible, right? It's not impossible. If I know myself, or let's talk to the audience, if you know yourself, just focus on that goal. The how to and steps, we figure it out because there is so much in today's world. Like in 2025, we have so many resources as compared to, ever in the past. So it will happen because the steps are not the problem. It's my intention of just doing it. So if you're very, very, feeling strong in terms of that conviction, just take that step and not let the mind go constantly on how am I going to accomplish those 10 steps. As simple as you wanted to become a doctor, you figured it out. If you figured that out journey of that going into medical school, the applications, the personal statement, etc., 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 and residency, this is nothing. This is nothing because that one simple goal and your mission, you just focus on that and you want to do it, take that action, and the rest of the actions will come about. And, you talked about Super Deck. It's going to be such an amazing community. There are so many amazing physician group communities, and most of us are here. If anyone wants to start, please just contact us, DM us, and, see how any one of us could support in that journey. But the first step has to be you. The rest of everything else will be supported.
Yeah, it's that first shift of believing in yourself and then finding the people and trusting that there are people out there who want to help you, because it's absolutely true. Like the people who have taken that step and are there, we look at the people who haven't yet and we see ourselves a year or 2 or 5 ago, and I absolutely want to help all those people. That's why we founded Super Doc Tech. That's why we're doing this podcast, to inspire people. All right, well, thank you so much, Chhaya, for joining us. I'm going to put all the details about your practice in our show notes, and I'll put information there as well so that if someone wants to reach out to you, they can.
Absolutely, Marissa. Thank you so much for having me.